Okay, part 2 of going over all the new summer event characters that are part of the Knights of the Round. This time, we're going over all the ladies, but not Nada or Dorothea because
we can't have nice things.
We at least got their swimsuits as costumes you can buy in the store, but that's not really good enough. Anyways, to the characters themselves. Libra, or is it Lila la Britannia?
I honestly don't know.
If you don't recognize her, don't worry.
You are not alone.
She was first introduced in the video game Geass Maelstrom of Libra, which was unfinished. She then appeared in a second recap film, and now for the first time in Lost Stories. By the way, she is Clovis' sister, if you're wondering.
She's so adorable.
She is a rank 4 strategy type pilot, and on placement,
there are some effects.
For 60 seconds, the normal attack targets of all allies in range
increases
by 1,
and
the number of targets for the Nightmare Frame skill is also increased by 3. She also cloaks herself and 3 allies in range for 3 seconds.
Now obviously,
her attack range is better than her melee, and the cost is
solid.
If you don't have Halloween Lelouch, it's worth summoning her since she can support the Britannian or Royal Family faction in faction wars where D-Tard cannot. She might be the second best character in this banner.
Up next, we have
Anya is a rank 4 defensive pilot with
unique
stats. She has the highest health and defense in the game, but
there's a catch.
She also has
0. What do you mean, like nothing?
Melee and range attack. Now you might be thinking,
so how does that work?
You see, Anya is meant to be
a wall!
There's only one way to deal damage, and that's to use the Nightmare frames like the Mordred, where the skill does damage on top of the typical ability.
But I'm getting ahead of myself.
Let's go over her abilities. For every 20 seconds where you don't use the Nightmare Frame skill, the number of blocks and Nightmare Frame skill targets increase by 1 for 17.5 seconds. If Anya is in the Mordred, the number of blocks becomes 3. And for the first 3 seconds following deployment and 20 seconds after that, your max health and defense increase by 35% for 17.5 seconds. Anya is a solid pilot who is a powerful tank. If you don't have Nightmare Frames like the Mordred, the Gurren, the Grail, and the Gwaine, then don't go for this pilot since she can't do damage on her own. And if you do have those Nightmare Frames, you'll still have to back her up once she's on the battlefield. From my experience, it did take a while for her Nightmare Frame skills to fill up. And there aren't too many Britannian tanks in the game, so consider going for Anya if you're lacking any. Because she has an insane number of blocks, but doesn't deal damage, you can stall out if you're waiting for your pilot's redeployment time to expire, like in Expedition mode, where you need to heal your units before ending the battle.
Think about that.
And last, but certainly not least,
we have Big Butt Monica. Only joking, it's just Monica. By the way, what was the point of making a big deal of giving her a rank 4 version in the first year anniversary when you just did that?
Again.
If you're curious about her backstory that was revealed during the first year anniversary, then check out this video. Anyways, Monica is a rank 4 assault pilot who has a similar effect to Neris, aka Cornelia. Every 15 seconds following deployment, the cost of the next Britannian pilot is reduced by 35%, and the cost of Knights of the Round member is also reduced by 35%. If Monica is in the Florence, the net reduction becomes 60%. The Knights of the Round do have high costs, but I would have preferred a generic cost reduction like Gino's. She also increases her Nightmare Frame skill gauge by 87.5% in the beginning of the battle, and will continue to increase it by 50% during the battle. If Monica is piloting the Florence, then her skill gauge will be at 100% when you deploy her at the start of the battle. Her melee and range stats are basically
equal.
So use her in either type of Nightmare Frame, including the Florence's 2 different weapons. I like this pilot, but
there's just one problem.
She's too situational. Just like the other rank 4 Monica, you have to use her with the Knights of the Round, or at least Britannia pilots, to get the most of this pilot. I do like her Nightmare Frame gauge ability, and for an assault pilot, she has really good attack stats. I would only recommend going for this pilot if you like the character, or of course the art.
Oh yeah!
Or lack any good Britannian cost increasers, which really shouldn't be the case. Not really my favorite when comparing it to the other pilots we got on the banner. If you're curious about my thoughts on the male pilots from this banner, then check out this video right here.